Hi, I'm Dr. Chuck, Charles Meakin, 30-year cancer doctor turned health and wellness coach at the end of 2018. My coaching site is coachitforwardchuck.com, where we have a lot of great resources for everyone, information that supports my thoughts and strategies after 30 years of cancer care. It's health and wellness stuff for everyone, though, not just cancer patients. We also have a handful of wonderful coaches there that have volunteered their time. The whole concept is we'd be willing to offer some coaching for a few sessions, 3 to 5, and in exchange, if you're satisfied with the work, that you donate to some important charities to us, all very efficient charities that have low cost and low overhead. So check out the site, and I'm sure you'll be excited about it. My overall goal and theme with this website and this work is to bring to you simple, accessible, and affordable health priorities for people to try. And if you can get 80% of these right, you'll be successful and really rock in life. So remember, keep it simple, and let's dive in. Today we're going to talk about detoxification. Detoxification. Now, that's kind of a scary word. Toxin has some emotions associated with it, and detoxification. I'm sure people think of scary stuff like sweat lodges where someone might overexpose himself to heat, or invasive stuff like colonics, or prolonged water fast where people are walking around zombie-ish and stuff like that. So once again, our theme is to talk about the simple stuff first, and then we can talk about some of these more controversial issues in a bit. The big 6 when it comes to detox are the following. Think about how we get rid of stuff. First one is breath. The obvious thing we do is we get rid of CO2 every breath in exchange for oxygen. And if we overbreathe or mouth breathe, we can actually trouble ourselves. Now, there are times when we're in the middle of a sprint, we need to mouth breathe. We need to get more. But if we, for instance, breathe through your nose, we activate parasympathetic, we activate nitric oxide pathways, which dilate blood vessels and help oxygen delivery. And what we don't do is we don't blow off too much CO2. We usually blow off maybe 6 to 8 liters in a minute. But when we mouth breathe, we generally blow off more like 8 to 12 liters. And if you blow off too much CO2, it actually makes it harder for the oxygen to leave the hemoglobin molecule at the microcirculation, at the capillaries. So, stay in pace with your body, of course, but nostril breathing actually helps, deliver the oxygen better, because we don't overbreathe out the oxygen and get into a alkalosis. The other thing we do with breath, you probably know when you eat certain things or have certain emotional things, you have a change in the smell of your breath. We do get rid of toxins in the breath. And that's why it's good not to shallow breathe. Abdominal breathing, the diaphragm pulls down. I like the thought of sort of a circular breath where the belly goes out first, and then the second part of it is the chest comes out, and then a long, relaxed exhale, hopefully through the nose and mouth, in through the nose. And that aerates the lower aspects of our lung. That's where, metabolic products can get trapped. That's why exercise helps sort of clean out the attic of our lung and get the lungs, fully emptied and fully, recirculated with good oxygen. Good air and more oxygen. So breath is the first way we properly get rid of toxins. So in the morning, the nose is a filtering tool. Don't be shy about cleaning out the intake valve. Make sure the nose gets cleaned out, that you can properly nostril breathe. And if you can't get it opened up, see an ENT or your physician about getting it looked into, because nostril breathing through life is one of the most important things not to do right. Second thing is skin. Some people think that skin is sort of a cover that maybe is one way or not one way at all. It's actually two-way. I always tell people, don't put anything on your skin unless you'd put it in your mouth. There's transdermal medicines we use all the time. The skin is a good way to get rid of, release heat, and then through sweat we carry salt out, but we also gas off other toxins and whatnot. I know if I break protocol and have something like, a few say onion rings, from a fast food fryer. Next day when I go work out, my sweat doesn't smell the same. It has a bit of a toxic smell to it. So, that's one of the ways where a good, sweat through exercise, or if you have the access to a steam room or sauna bath, sweating is good. A sauna bath has infrared generally, which has other benefits. But look at the skin as an organ. And, a lot of times I'd see some older people, sometimes people who lived alone, they had so much dead skin on their back and areas they couldn't reach. I'd almost say, hey, we need to go get you a good scrub down, wash towel, sloughing tool, loofah, I think they call it, and get some of this dead skin off so you can get rid of the toxins you need to get rid of. So look at your skin as a two-way valve and, let it do its work for you. The third way is bowel. This is probably what came to people's mind, first. Yeah, we get rid of waste through the bowel. And, there is proper elimination and then there's improper elimination. I'm not a GI doctor, but I've been studying health and wellness for a long time, and patients as well. If you think you're prone to be constipated or can't eliminate or only go 2 to 3 times a week or, once every 2 or 3 days, that's not regular. You need to be eliminating. What doesn't get eliminated kind of gets toxic and exposes the bowel wall to things that we don't need exposure to. You want to go, 1 to 3 times, 4 times a day. You can tell a lot by looking at your elimination. You can look up stool health analysis and, there's different patterns that predict different problems. You want to have regular elimination, and that comes with regular eating and regular sleep and whatnot. It is probably the most important thing that, in our digestive tract that we can study ourselves. In addition, if you see blood, don't write it off. In addition, if you see that you have hemorrhoids, that's usually a problem where you're not eating enough fiber, you're straining, you shouldn't have to strain to go, you're not getting enough water. Water is critical for hydration and elimination. Or maybe you've been put on meds that affect your elimination. They say when John Wayne died, I think he had lung cancer, as he went through the final stages, they did an autopsy, he had 30 pounds of impaction. Well, I'm telling you, the liver, which is the processing plant of the body, cannot work if there is a lot of stored material up there. Got to keep that moving. The more you keep it moving, the easier it is to keep moving. Watch the medicines you take. Keep abreast of your elimination. Water is an important factor. I used to tell patients all the time that are on treatment, before they would jump to medication for constipation, I'd say, let's get your diet right. And aloe vera. Aloe vera is good for a lot of things. It has antibiotic qualities. It has anti-inflammatory qualities. You got your morning water ritual. Put a splash or a teaspoon or 2 in your morning water. It heals everything from here to the bottom. And it helped people with, better elimination, help people heal the food tube if it got injured during treatment. It was a real easy panacea, and it's very inexpensive. Can buy aloe vera juice or gel at any grocery store or health food store. The fourth way we eliminate, as you might guess, is urination. And another issue that shouldn't be taken for granted. There are also scales where you can look up on Google, and it's on my website, what different color means. And if it's a hot day in North Carolina and you've been working outside, you might see your urine be concentrated or more yellow. And that means the body's trying to hold on to water because it's lost a lot through the skin. That should be a little clue to yourself. Yep, I gotta go drink some water, and maybe some water with solute in it. Now, I typically get on my high horse and talk about this, and forgive me, but when I say you need some solute, doesn't mean you need to go buy a sport drink. I won't mention any by name. They're full of fructose. Fructose is not your friend. Now, if you're in a 100-mile race in the Death Valley, okay, you need to jack up on that. But in daily life, you're not helping yourself. I see people on treadmills all the time with their sport drink, and they're popping up their insulin levels. Fructose doesn't do too much good for the body unless you're really straining your system. Just drink water, or water with some sea salt in it, or electrolyte mix. You can even make your own. It's easy to look up on the internet. Put some magnesium in there. Sea salt has not just sodium chloride, but it has potassium in it as well as some magnesium. And some other micronutrients, some other minerals as well, like strontium, borium, depending where the sea salt's from. It's very good for you. So consider studying your urine, and as we've talked about, make sure that morning ritual with a good hit of fluids. I like mild salt water. I put some magnesium in it. I put some other things in it in the morning to really get your fluid level up. And then you'll notice, 9 to 10 o'clock, depending on when you got up, you'll have a good exodus of urine that will take a lot of toxins out of your body. I firmly believe that if you urinate thoroughly every day, you're going to reduce your risk of bladder cancer. If you're one of these people that never drink and your urine's always, dark, there's a lot of stuff in there getting exposed. Bladder cancer is very common in the elderly. My friends, the urologists say, when we used to check urines when everybody walked through the door, 3 out of 4 of them were dehydrated based on the urine electrolyte balance. If you're overly concentrated, that means you're dehydrated. The body's trying to hold on to water. So this is one of the simplest, easiest thing to follow. You're being your own best doctor. That's the theme of this website. Remember, check your urine. The fifth thing is something that doesn't come to mind too often in the detoxification study or discussion. It's emotions. You can't carry around hate. You can't carry around unforgiveness. You can't carry around angst. We all know the type A individual, the person that shouts in traffic. I've done that, of course. But you gotta know how to shed your emotions. On our website, we have a forgiveness exercise. We have loving kindness exercise. We wish all sentient beings, love and health and freedom. Living that life can make a remarkable difference. The first way to do it is start with a gratitude program in the morning. Think of 3 things that you're grateful for before you put your feet on the floor. One of those things might be the warmth of the rug under your foot. Not everybody has that. Secondly, do that again at night. If you're in a state of gratitude, you can't be angry, you can't have fear. So when you get those anger, fear, emotions, try to flip it to gratitude. Another way to get rid of problematic emotions, I've talked about some simple things. Look at these negative emotions or events. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater while you go through life. It takes a lot of energy. It's not going to work out for you. You might need professional help. It might mean inpatient help. Another way to consider it is holotropic breathing. There are some cool things out there through holotropic breathing. It's one of the safe ways. You almost get to a psychedelic experience where you can get to deeper parts of your psychic, and through proper coaching during the breathing, offer catharsis to things that have been troubling you. And there's some, wonderful people in this business as well. The 6th thing I want to talk about is not how to get rid of difficult emotions, but how to prevent them from bombarding your life. We've had autonomic negative thoughts, ants. They say there's 5 negative thoughts for every 1 positive thought. That can make your day pretty tough. How does that happen? Social media. Oh my gosh, they got a better car than me. Oh my gosh, they've gone on a better vacation than me. Whatever. There's the sense that you need to be in control of everything. That's not going to end well. The smartest thing I learned in the last 10 years was to figure out what I had some role in and forgive and forget the other things I don't have a role in. I gave up watching some of the news because it's gotten pretty negative. I've given up reading about things news-wise that are negative. I offer prayer and thoughts and kindness and love to it, but I don't invest myself in it. I play the equanimity game. It's a Stoic philosopher's game where if something gets you off your balance, see how quickly you can restore that balance. It's one of the Stoic philosophers came up with it. It can challenge you, and there are times where I don't get back on that balance horse very quickly, but the more you do it, the more you can do it well. And nostril breathing is a big part of that, recognizing that things will work out, and sometimes these detours have silver linings. So one way to detoxify is to sort of shut off the toxic inputs into your life. If you've got people in your life that are constantly toxic, spend less time with them. Think about what you want to do with the news. Think about what you want to do with social media. Life will get better, believe me. So the big 6 are breath, skin, bowel, urine, emotions, and preventing toxic negative thoughts. There are some controversial areas. You know, there are probably people who think colonics is sort of a foolish waste of time. They cost about $100. I've looked into them and found that there are some interesting features to it. A chiropractor that I got to know and a lady who worked at a wellness center that I got to trust, who said that, you know, this guy did a YouTube video. He did 7-day water fast. So he was starting to eliminate nothing but clear stuff. He went in and did a colonic and they posted it. And after, you know, some swishes and you know, irrigations, stuff came out that looked like it was old stool, that it had been, you know, clustered in a diverticuli or something. And if that was the case, I got to think that that was probably smart to do, or at least to do once a year or two. I've had patients I've sent to this wellness worker with C. difficile, which is not the typical treatment. Colonics are not the typical treatment for that, don't get me wrong, as well as people with chronic yeast overgrowth. And all of them got better just from flushing the system. So I think there is a role for it. Number 2, fasting. I'm a big advocate for fasting. I've done 7-day fast. I do modified fast where I do, you know, some clean fat coffee in the morning, nothing that triggers an insulin response. And I worked and exercised throughout that just to kind of follow blood tests before and after. You know, I'm a biohacker. I got to do that stuff. But in general, I do, you know, fast through the week, you know, dinner the night before to lunch or dinner the next day. I think there is some benefits to it. It fosters autophagy, or breakdown of old cells that you don't need anymore, that by constant eating, we keep them alive, and therefore they're dangerous because they might make a bad copy. So some level of fasting, I think, has some benefits to the detoxification process. You choose what works for you. I like modified fasting because I don't think water fast has any benefits over some mild modification. And it seems like a lot of the pundits out there are going that way. I've also advocated charcoal. If you eat a toxic meal, the charcoal capsules, you know, are great binders. They pull in heavy metals and other environmental toxins, food toxins. It can help you sort of process a bad meal or sickness or whatnot. One way to use it is, you know, for oil pulling in the mouth, you put some olive oil or coconut oil in the mouth with a charcoal capsule, swish it around for 5-10 minutes. It probably pulls stuff out of the lining of the mouth and does exercise your buccal area and spit it out. It looks pretty black when it comes out, so don't scare your spouse. And I think that has some benefit. There are also a whole family of binders, things that bind heavy metals. Zeolite is a little more expensive one. And those that are trying to detox from heavy mercury exposure or other exposures, it's not a bad idea. I try to use the less expensive charcoal stuff, and then other products such as spirulina and chlorella, which are natural binders. You know, I worked on radiation a lot. Chlorella is thought to have some radiation binding detoxification benefits. It's sort of part of my morning water, and it's inexpensive to do. So once again, we're focused on the simple stuff that is accessible and affordable, that promotes health. And if you do it 80% of the time, you'll get 90%, 100% of the outcome. And remember, you are your own best doctor, and detoxification is important. Remember the big 6: breath, skin, bowel, urine, emotions, and blocking external toxic, emotional triggering events. And stay strong and curious. Good luck.